Hey everyone, let's talk about my mini telescopic crane. And more specifically, how does that piece of gear even end up on set? So this week, I'm interviewing Ed Ng, who's a Los Angeles-based director, along with Jason Joseffer, a San Francisco-based director of photography. So we recently worked on a commercial together for a product called Heat Pump. So I'm going to show you the director's cut of the commercial. And then during the interview, we kind of break it down specifically on how that piece of gear was determined to be the best piece of gear on this job. Here's the commercial.
Baby, tell me what you want. Cool days, warm nights. Yeah, sometimes we all need a little help to make everything just right. Not too hot, not too cold. Goldilocks. And what I want to tell you, babe, is I got the tools to hit that sweet spot every time. I want to help you, babe. I want to blow your mind. I'm your heat pump. When you want it hot, I'm hot for you. I'm your heat pump. When you want it cool, I'm cool with you, babe. Cause I can do it all for you, baby. All you have to do is turn me on, and I'll go on and on for you. Check it out. A part of me goes inside. Part of me goes out. All of me pumping. I'm precisely calibrated to make you scream and shout.
Cause I'm electric in your heat.
Cause I can move heat in or out till you feel what you wanna be feeling. Yeah, you and me plus electricity equals climatic heat. I'm your heat pump. When you want it hot, I'm hot for you. When you want it cool, I'm cool with you, baby. Don't matter if you're living in the sun or snow, any place you go, I'll be there for you. That's all I wanna do. I'm here for you, baby. You feel me? I'm switched on, sipping on electrons. Never gonna burn fuel, cause I prefer to keep the planet cool. All day, all night, I keep humming. Keeping hydrocarbons quaking, cause I'm coming. No time for waiting, I'ma get proliferating. Every state and every nation gonna stimulate the conversation. Ha. It's time to get busy. Cut your gas line, I'm electric in your hizzy. When you want it hot, I'm hot for you. When you want it cool, I'm cool with you, baby. Any way you want it, I got you, baby. I got you, baby.
All right, so let's talk about what we just saw. So that was the commercial that we did with the director, Ed Ng, who's here joining us, and also director of photography here in San Francisco, Jason Joseffer. So, hey guys, how are you?
Hey,
How
thanks
you
for having
doing?
us.
Awesome, thanks for being here. So I think I want to start with the process, how it starts from you, Ed, as a director. How does the process start where, hey, you know what? I have these shot ideas and I think a techno crane or a jimmy jib or a steady camera, whatever. How do I think through that process and then finally make it all the way down to hiring a vendor like myself to come in and help?
Yeah, it's first I think it's our treatment, when I'm writing a treatment, generally I have an idea of the type of transition or move that I'm looking for. And definitely, when I'm picking out a DP, like Jason, we've worked together before, and it's not always just the move that I'm looking for, but it's the mood, it's the type of just landscape that a cinematographer puts, into their work. And once I establish who I want to work with, and this one was obviously Jason. He's got a great background and great eye for color and movement, and is a whole host of things, which could take a while. So I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. But then I show Jason the treatment. We talk about how these moves are designed, if any, and then generally it would be a combination of what Jason would like to see and myself, and how it aligns. And quite a few of these shots were very dynamic, and they required something like a jib or a techno crane.
That actually starts at the treatment level. So a client would come to you, you would pitch the treatment that you have to them, your concept, your idea of what you think would work for that. And then through that treatment that you've already thought about would kind of lead you into the direction of what pieces of equipment that you would need.
Yeah, and that would also be part of just the process of the DP. Like hiring DP is, I think, all keys, but myself coming from a background in cinematography, I definitely do want to work with people that I think, we understand each other. And definitely Jason has always been a great partner in that. And I've watched him with producer that I used to work with, and seen his work, and it was just a great opportunity for us to work together. So that's
Right.
where the process began.
Got it. Okay. So it is obviously relationships in the industry are what drive, you know, um, the,
Yeah.
the final product. Obviously, director, DP, gaffer, key grip, those people are very, very important to make that all. And when we work together all the time, it does make the show go, flow better. The look is always nice. So it starts from the treatment. The client has to buy off on the treatment, obviously. And then during that treatment, are you also thinking about the DP for that specific treatment?
I think every director has, probably a different process. I just have my own process. Is I look at a lot of reels, all the time, and I do revert back to things that I like, whether it's a certain color or mood. And the one thing that kind of came up when Jason and I spoke about this was he shot the film, The Alternate, with a great friend of ours, and I loved when he shot the trailer. I think I think you were using my camera too.
Yeah, yeah, we used your camera.
Yeah, I think yeah, and not that the camera had to do anything with it, but it had that look, and I was like, oh, cool. So then we just Jason and I just started talking, and obviously it's a partnership. If Jason wants to work with me, and so that was our first process. And then once things got going, I showed him, treatment. Then we start talking about it. Not everything is fleshed out during a treatment. I've posted these things on social media, and things like this, is how I go from a concept to boards to references and then to the final product, and even going into color and testing and things like that. So there's just a certain process that kind of comes with it. So I don't think we were very specific from what I remember about doing an overhead Dutch into into this roll, and the wall coming out, like, that I don't think all of that was really like developed yet. It was just kind of like, here's the basis where we're going to be in a bedroom.
Right.
We're going through this window, and you know
And
revealing
so
and stuff.
was the window kind of the thing that automatically said techno crane of some sort to you?
Well, I kind of remember how the Technocrane discussion started. Let me jump in with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Ed texted me. He's like, "Hey, I've got this project coming up," and before I even saw the treatment, I was like, "I'm on board," because I know it's coming from Ed. It's going to be a good one. And I saw it, I'm like, "Holy shit, this looks cool!" And I think I texted you back like, "How many days are we shooting this in?" Because it looked pretty ambitious. He's like, "1 day and a
Yeah.
pre-light. We had a pre-light day, mostly for the set build." And I was like, "Oh wow!" And then I just learned about this new mini techno crane in town, Roberts. And I was like telling Ed, I'm like, God, I mean, maybe we should consider using this because we needed something that could be fast, because there's certainly a version of this where we're laying track and we're on a Fisher for parts and maybe getting a
Oh,
Steadicam
yeah.
op out, or a
Yeah.
gimbal. But then just we literally didn't have time to change rigs like that. And then so that's what got us starting to think about the Technocrane. And then we started thinking like, well, geez, we could push through a window, fly over a bed.
Okay,
And I
so
think that sort of the constraint of having
Yeah.
to do it in a day sort of opened up the thought process to this new tool in town.
and I think a lot of people don't understand that even if you're not doing dynamic moves with a techno crane or some sort of tool that lets you move the camera, just by having it on set and it allows you to move quickly, not during camera movement quickly, but positioning quickly. Like especially during that heat pump thing, the window thing obviously could only be done with a techno, obviously. But then going from the talent's hand on a thermostat up to the heat vent or pulling back, being high on the bed and coming down, obviously those are
Yeah.
techno specific. But just even if we needed a quick lockdown somewhere, that was up and above. The techno crane and even the Jimmy Jib allow you to do that. I think is a time saver, especially when you have an aggressive schedule like that one was, for sure.
I think for us, I don't think that a jib was the right tool. I think once Jay, you know, told us, told me about your more the smaller version of your techno, I was like, yeah, let's get it in. And for sure, I know there were a few shots that, agency said we needed to get, which was one that was super high up. And I don't think I designed that shot, with the thermostat until, I mean, I think I still have the recording. It's like, hey, how cool would it be to be like this? And then you're like, well, can we get this shot to go up? It's like, yeah, let's do it. And then, you stuck it, 10, 15 feet in the air. And I was like, hell yeah. And then Mitsubishi came aboard and said, you know, if we can get it right up to the top of that thing and we can get all of these things, then, it's kind of a great buy off, for
I,
things that you can't reach.
right. I should also mention that Jason was the operator as well. So we had the Movi Pro with wheels on that job.
Yes.
So Jason was
Yeah.
operating on that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also that's more of Jason's, world, like to work with a DP. It is important to have that good relationship, if they're going to operate the wheels, or like how these moves are going to be set in place. And, I know that, Jason's, very diverse. I've seen him, sit on dolly track, moving 20 something feet and, being able to hit a target and, other types of things. So, I think all of that does come into play, like versatility and understanding, obviously, the cinematographer that you're going to choose, whoever the director is.
So from what I'm hearing, Ed, you obviously had concept and design and the treatment done, but maybe Jason was the person who specifically thought, oh, well, maybe techno is the way to go. And just because he had seen it, thought that would be a good tool to use for this one.
I think for sure, like we, the more ambitious that I write pretty ambitious, and
Ah,
definitely, yeah, you know, sometimes budget doesn't fit and whatnot. At least we did get a pre-light and setup day,
yeah.
but I thought if we contain this world, what would you do? And yes, I do remember is, hey, let's just lay down as much track as we can. I think I remember, oh, let's get some circular tracks with a slider or something like that. And it's just like then I do remember, you said, yeah, Robert has this. And I was thinking, man, he is not going to be able to fit the movie bird in there because I've used the movie bird. It ain't going to fit in that space.
Right. Yeah.
And to
And
be and to
then
be
you
honest,
said,
to be honest with the audience, that was the first job that this went out on. And when I
Hmm.
saw what you guys were planning on doing with it, I was super, well, first of all, I was like, okay, hopefully this new tool, and I had done some tests with it, obviously, but I was hoping that the new tool could actually kind of pull off what you guys were asking for. And it was the perfect use case scenario for that crane. And so to have it on the first job for the shoot that you guys did was amazing. It actually was perfect for that tool.
Yeah, no, and obviously, just the support and being able to uh, understand an operator for my peace of mind is an I think it's an important thing. I think for anyone who is directing, and obviously a cinematographer is having that portfolio and then having trust. I think, Jason and I trust each other, and I've been on set with him and I've had the opportunity to see his work. So, that definitely makes it a lot easier than kind of having to say why this is important. I would trust that he thinks this is a better tool because I have other things to think about. So, that's a trust in DP.
Right. So obviously a DP has a huge role in kind of deciding as well what gear
Yeah.
will be used on top of the, maybe a key grip knows something that he can propose to the DP as well. Or if there's a relationship between the DP and a crane company or gimbal or something that he's worked with before, he may call them and rely on their input as well. I don't know if that happened on this job, but I know that,
Well,
that
I mean, I remember looking at the first pitch deck there and seeing all these shots, and I remember thinking and knowing that it's one day of shooting that we'd probably need multiple two camera bodies really if we're actually going to have a chance of doing it not the way we did it. Something that's a studio camera on a Fisher and something else that's probably like pre-balanced on a gimbal. But that gets complicated because then you probably need a larger camera department to pull it off. It's more gear. But that was my first thought of like how to get through this deck in a day. And then having that mini techno, the other cool thing about it too was that it solved all those problems of like, oh, the high angle here, we don't have to do any goalpost overhead thing, or we can move through the window, we can fly over the bed. But it also just kind of opened up a lot of like spontaneity and kind of improvise a little bit too. Like we're like, hey, like that's not quite working out. Let's try this. We did a lot of like kind of shuffling and trying to find it. And we also had like, a performer dancing and singing on stage, also a moving target. So it was,
right.
yeah, it was really, it was a lot
And
of
all,
fun to like
and all in one
adapt
day.
in real time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
So as a DP, when you're thinking about obviously using a tool like that, how does that play in your mind? Like, how am I going to light around this thing? Is it going to be a hindrance to some of the stuff that I need to do? If in fact we're going to be or try to be on it, because the whole thing was shot on that techno. As a DP, do you think, wow, how am I going to overcome shadows, or how can I work around it? Or is that something that comes into mind when you're thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke with our gaffer in advance once we decided we were doing that route, and we talked about kind of leading into more theatrical stage lighting, a lot of stuff rigged above, especially for the stage performance parts, and having other units on the ground that could come in and kind of help carry things that were if there was a key rigged above, from the right side, but then as we get in closer, maybe we need something more flattering or can do more controlled. So we bring something in on stage and kind of work with what the techno is doing. So
And
we had
I will never,
discussions about how to strategize for it.
yeah, I will never forget this. Because, I was in LA, and I don't know if Jay had time did you actually see the stage prior to us? I can't even remember.
I've shot at Mama Dog a bunch, so I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, you knew it, right? I never shot there, and I think I underestimated the space because our art director, Michael, had never seen the space either, and by the time we all toured, I think we flew up there, with our crew, only like 2 days or three days before. Um,
I feel like you got,
you
because
know,
I think
pre-light
I came in, I think it was just the day before the pre-light.
or
You guys,
day before the
it was
pre-light. I
like
think, yeah, yeah. I
circus
think
came
we're
to town and you, it was
correct.
like 4 p.m. on a Wednesday and we, pre-light Thursday.
Yeah, it was only a day before the
Yeah.
pre-light, and when we saw the space, you know, I think all of us were like, "Is all of this gonna fit?" And I still never saw Robert's,
Yeah.
new tool. I mean, I've obviously worked with his movie bird, I mean, but I was like, the movie bird would take the entire stage. Like, how are we going to do this? And so it was a lot of definitely planning, and I was really, I think I was more excited than anybody else seeing that this thing like fit through a damn doorway, and I was like, okay, I don't think we're going to have a problem because I remember that one corner that it first sat in. You're like, oh, it'll fit over there, and I'm like, oh my God, is he going to hit the wall? Like, where's is Robert going to be, like in another room? Like how is this going to work? And you said, yeah.
The stage was, we can't say it to have people understand, it was so full of set pieces because there were moving walls and because there was that stage live performance area behind. That stuff was crazy. There was so much stuff there that yeah, I was a little concerned to try to manipulate the crane around the set, but it actually worked out fine. I mean, there was plenty of room, and sometimes we had to move certain things around for me to get into certain spots, but definitely much easier than the 30 footer.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I remember, I think, Robert, we talked before, and you gave me a sense of like what the footprint is when it's in its most compact setting. And the first thing we did on the pre-light was just line everything up with tape so we could figure out all the layers. So I kind of knew about what your footprint was. We're like, hey, our longest, line we have here is from the corner to the corner. So if the techno's here, then this wall's here, the bedroom's here, and then after that is the stage, and we sort of taped it all out. So we had a plan, and then you came by towards the end, second half of our day of the pre-light, and we did some like just initial tests there to make sure it was all going to
yeah,
happen.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember you're smart enough to tape everything down and like, hey, here's a blueprint, because I think you were the one who said this wall ain't gonna fit. Like, because we had a front wall, and like, I mean, it's not that I don't like take into account like situations, but there's like a certain vision of what I'm looking for. And if I say, oh, if I say to art direction, oh yeah, we need a front wall, and that needs to lead into a bedroom, and then the bedroom needs to have a wall that pulls out. It's like, that's all I'm thinking. And art department's like, okay, how many feet and da da da. And then Jason's like, how are we going to actually do it? Are we going to light this front section with the heat pump, and then go through that window, and then light that section up, and then start that move? It's like, what, that's a huge process that I think is part of why you picked a certain DP, and what and work with them, and why Jason would speak with you, Robert, to get the right tool
yeah.
to do the
Yeah.
job.
We
It's
should also,
definitely
we should
a
also,
team effort because I remember with Michael, like when we were taping all out, like I think at first we thought we had a version that works, and then Michael's like, well,
Yeah.
yes, but when we pull out, the set wall is going to hit the cove of the
Yeah,
site, so we need to
exactly.
rotate everything like 4 degrees, and then this will just clear if you're on this lens. So it's like a lot of like
Yeah.
micro compromises to just thread that needle
we
on
should
that
definitely,
stage.
we should definitely mention art department for sure. And
Yeah.
obviously your gaffer. I
Yeah.
mean, it looked great on camera.